Hello and welcome to the forecast for March 3rd to March 9th. My name is Desiree DeLune, your acupuncturist, herbalist, and astrologer, keeping you informed and up to date with the energies that are impacting us in our moods, in our thoughts, in our actions, in every which way. So I'm very excited to share with you this coming week. I'm going to share the screen real quick here. Oh, we're going to start on Monday, actually. Please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell so you're notified every time a new video is up. It would be much appreciated so that others can receive this important information. And do share away with any other empaths that need some support and preparation for this year, because this year is a year you want to be informed since things shift and change so rapidly this year. It's a very foundational year. One of the ways that I like to describe it is like we are moving from the house you have lived in for a long time and now moving to a new house. And so 2025 is basically taking all the items that you own from the old house and now moving it to the new home. And there's just going to be a bit of a back and forth for a while. We're not fully settled into the new world, the new landscape. However, it's like we've got one foot in the old and one foot in the new, and we are changing things. We are transitioning. We are amidst major transition in humanity and consciousness and how we live in our bodies even. I'm sure you're noticing some changes within your physical body. If you're getting sick often, sometimes that's an upgrade, okay? We have to shed the old and step into this new frequency, this new body that we have to live in for this next era of humanity. So, all right, let's dive in. We're going to begin with Monday. We are definitely in Pisces season, and excuse me, we've got Sun, Saturn, and Neptune here, and Sun's going to be here for the next few weeks. And Pisces has to do with our creativity and our imagination, our intuition. So many of these things are going to be more pronounced, heightened, more active. This is a very fluid sign. This is a very spiritual sign. So things of that nature are going to be highlighted in our lives. I can tell you for me, I have definitely been writing a lot more and writing different things than I normally do. But there are so many features here because we have these three planets. We have Saturn, that is the planet of order and structure and hard work and discipline. So, on a really beautiful expression of that, that means we have more like structured discipline, dreaming, structured discipline in our art, in our creativity. Also, having some boundaries around our sensitivity could develop some of that. It could be the other way too. It just depends on you and the rest of your chart and what's happening in the house in which Pisces is over. Sometimes with Neptune and Saturn, you'll see Neptune here that looks like a trident, and Saturn looks like an H with a line over it. They're about 7 degrees apart, and anything within a 10-degree orb is quite significant. They really impact one another. But this could also mean a dissolving of boundaries too, because Neptune tends to blur the lines and dissolve what it touches. So it's actually pretty close to Mercury. So, really like blurring the lines of communication, possibly having more misunderstandings in this coming week. But this can blur our boundaries too. It can dissolve our boundaries. So if you are a hypersensitive person, I still do recommend putting on boundaries blend. This is a time, like, let's say you have consistently, or you have maintained your boundaries. You've applied boundaries blend for a while, and this comes from my work. If you're curious what I'm talking about, you can find one in the I'm Fabulous book from my bookstore. But this is a season where boundaries could be more vulnerable. So if you haven't applied boundaries in a while because you've pretty much maintained them, this would be a nice time to revisit and start applying back up again. I've been using them more frequently lately too, just because of the kind of like fluidity of our boundaries here. There's a bit more permeability than there, normally would be. But Saturn can go kind of either way, is what I'm saying. It could start to help you develop boundaries, but it can also dissolve boundaries. It just depends on like if Neptune is stronger in your chart, is it well placed? Or is Saturn well placed in your chart? Or is it afflicted? Because if Saturn's afflicted in your natal chart, you'd have to do a cosmic clarity consultation to learn these things. Then possibly this could be a more aggravating time in terms of your heightened sensitivity. Okay, this is how we personalize what's going on in the sky with our own constitution and design. So I give you the weather report. Now that's one thing, but then how it relates to you is a secondary thing, a very important thing to customize to yourself. So I just wanted to let you know Pisces is being very stimulated and activated and possibly compromised, again, depending on your design. So here's the next thing that's important to talk about. We talked about it in the last forecast, but Venus has gone retrograde and it's going to be retrograde until April 12th. I'm probably going to be saying this over and over again. A lot of what I'm talking about on Monday, by the way, is going to be impacting majority of the week. So Monday's one of the important days to listen. But Venus being in retrograde, Venus represents what we value, what's important to us, what we find valuable. It's also our pleasures. It's what we do for fun. And it represents our money, our finances, like what we're willing to spend money on. It also represents relationships. Now, when any planet goes into retrograde, okay, and it's going backwards, well, it's not actually going backwards, but it's just the way the orbit is. It looks like it's going backwards relative to the Earth position. So when Venus is going retrograde, this is a revisiting, it's a reevaluating, it is like any words really, like revisit, reevaluate, I can't even think of another word for some reason. my mind is going blank, but just understand, refinement, realignment, there we go, there's some other words there. Refine, realign. So it's time to comb through this area that where Venus is in our charts and just Venus in general. So here we've got to pay attention to the relationships that we have. What are our hobbies and what's pleasurable for us. There are things that I used to find pleasurable that I don't find anymore. Venus also represents our fashion and sense of style. It's the planet of beauty and arts. So I could tell you, for me personally, the way Venus retrograde is expressing itself in my life is that I've been going through my clothes. I've been kind of looking through my closet and, everywhere my clothes are and just kind of thinking, is this my style now? Yeah, I feel like I'm about to change my style in some way. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but clothes that I used to love, 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 I'm now looking at them and thinking, I don't really love it anymore. I don't really want to put it on. So I have been actually sending some of my clothes to ThredUp so that it ends up in someone else's closet instead of the landfill. and so yeah, that's how it's been expressing for me. Like my style is probably going to change. Maybe like even makeup, maybe your makeup style changes, maybe your hairstyle changes, like something might change about the way you present yourself. This is also a really good time for budgeting and going through like what you're spending money on and really taking a second look and say, hey, do I actually want that? Do I want that subscription or service, or do I want, this product anymore? Like I had to change some of my supplements. I'm like, oh, I don't really like this supplement anymore. I'm going to change this other thing to this other thing now. Even like people I've worked with for a year and a half, I'm changing that up now. I got a new accountant. I mean, see, this makes sense, right? Like all of these things are being activated. It's not like, oh, Venus is retrograde, so I better change all this up. It's no, these natural desires will come up. So if you're wondering like, why am I all of a sudden wanting to shift this and this and that and change this and that? It may be because Venus is in retrograde. So I just want you to start like connecting the dots that your desires and your behaviors and your moods and your feelings, they are not random. It is very organized. It is very ordered, and it is on time and on purpose. There is a reason for this. So it's just reflecting. That's another reword that I nearly forgot. It's just reflecting on what matters most to you. And this also applies to relationships, as I said before, as one of the things that Venus signifies is our friendships and the people we spend time with. Do I really want to spend that much time with that person? Do I really want to reach out to them? Do I want to nurture this relationship? Because there might be a shift in that as well. Okay. So I have extensively talked about Venus retrograde, and it's in Aries too, so it's very active. This is a fire sign, and so you're going to see yourself being actually quite proactive. It's a go-getter sign, it's initiatory, it's motivated, it's passionate, it's enthusiastic. I am passionately going through my clothes, yes. So you'll find yourself just naturally doing the actions that cause these changes in your life. So let's next talk about Mercury, because Mercury on this day has changed into Aries. We're starting to see Aries energy ramping up. And guess what? In March, at the end of March, we're going to see Neptune come into Aries. So, for a long time, like Aquarius and Pisces were really were heavy focus for us. And now it's shifting into Pisces and Aries. So we're going to see more and more Aries energy being activated in different ways in your life. And with Mercury going into Aries, this is the planet of communication. It's the planet of thinking, of learning. And so we're going to find ourselves having more direct conversations. That's the thing with Aries. It's just straight to the point. Like, we're not going to do any fluff here. We're getting right down to the core of what matters. It doesn't want to waste time. It's decisive, sometimes impulsive, but our minds are probably going to speed up a bit because it's a fire sign. It's ruled by Mars. So there's going to be more mental activity happening. So if your mind's just racing and going, it's because Mercury is now in Aries. And so this is actually a really great location with Mercury in Aries when you are wanting to, work with new ideas, when you need some passion and enthusiasm and inspiration and just have the energy for things too, and the energy to process and think through things. Some things we have to be careful about is being impatient, possibly not listening enough to others. So take a moment to make sure you're also listening and not just like jumping to speak. And then that impulsivity, like making decisions impulsively, could be one of the downsides of this as well. So the next one, we've got just a few more, a lot more. Okay, maybe like 6 more things to talk about for this Monday, which impacts, again, majority of the week. Once we get to the moon changes all the time. So the moon, what I say about the moon each day is only for that day, okay? But all the other things, they're much slower than the moon. So Sun trine Mars, we've got Sun right here, and then it has a blue triangle line to Mars down here. Now remember, Mars is direct. The only one we have in retrograde right now is Venus, but all the other planets are going forward. They're going direct. And so Mars has a bit more energy than it used to when it was going retrograde. And this trine is going to be here till March 16th. So we've got half of the month with this influence. And I love this influence because Mars is that confidence. Same with Sun, Mars and Sun. It's just going to increase our sense of confidence, our assertiveness, and it stimulates a strong drive to take action. It's going to like ramp up our excitement and our motivation and our drive and our willpower. We're going to be more decisive. It's just going to be easier to succeed essentially with this energy by our side. But if you need that like proactivity energy, you need some courage, like you get that from here. you're getting it from here. So enjoy this until March 16th. And then Sun, we also have a square to Jupiter, and that's till March 8th. So that's going to be too close to the end of the week till Saturday. This one can bring a little overconfidence. I mean, look, you already got enough from Sun, trine Mars, but just be careful not to get a little too ahead of yourself too. And then remember, Mercury is impulsive decision maker. The one problem with this is that we could, for example, overcommit and overextend ourselves. So be cautious that you don't do that. Okay. Be cautious you don't do that. We need to also really like balance ambition with practicality. So making sure that there is some grounding to your thinking and your plans and your visions and your ideas. Don't take on more than you can handle, and be optimistic, but we also want to be realistic too. So that's something we need to be cautious of. We do have Sun conjunct Saturn. It's getting closer. Right now it's 8 degrees away from each other, and that is going to stick around until March 20th. The Sun will get on the other side of Saturn, but until March 20th, essentially, Sun and Saturn are close. Now, when there is a conjunction, meaning that they're together within 10 degrees, then we're going to have both positive and negative expressions of this, or positive and challenging. The positive is that it may bring a bit more like organization, order, structure to your life. It can also bring some like heaviness to, kind of self-doubt surfacing, not sure if you are feeling confident, so it can dampen that confidence that we got from Mars over here. I feel that, however, with the other aspects going on, that it won't be as big of a problem in terms of feeling like low sense of confidence for something, or even feeling like restricted, or there's obstacles and setbacks. If for some reason you do have obstacles and setbacks, the way I see this is you're going to find your way through it with Mars and Jupiter, and it's the way that it's communicating with the Sun. So again, we got to like take into consideration the whole picture and not just one element of it. There's other conversations that are happening. I think of it like, when we have 5 spices in a dish, that creates a whole different, that's one unique flavor profile versus using only one spice in a dish, if that makes sense. Okay, so there's that, but it can also bring structure to your long-term goals. And remember, I have been saying like really think long-term for this year, and I feel like this can be very helpful to you in developing some sort of framework, some sort of plan that carries you out besides just the next month or two, but it's going to carry you out for several years. All right, so that's that. The next thing we're gonna talk about is the moon, or the last thing we're gonna talk about is the moon for Monday. Now, this moon conversation is pretty much just for Monday, whereas the previous things that I discussed are gonna be around for the whole week. Now, Monday, the moon is at the beginning part of Taurus, and Taurus is its exaltation. This is where moon is happiest. This is where moon is on vacation. So it's in an earth sign, so it feels very grounded. It feels stable. So at least you have that in the sky that's available to you. There is some sense of nurturing, emotional safety, security. Here, the moon really loves beauty because it's ruled by Venus. So it loves beauty. It loves nature very much so. Like going outside for a walk in nature will really make your moon happy on this day. It loves the finer things in life. I mean, anything luxurious, anything extra. Do a mask tonight after you wash your face, if you don't do masks usually, or like one of those like under eye gel thingies that you put on. Go extra is my point. Do what's luxurious, because that's gonna really support the moon. It does prefer consistency and routine here. So we've got that like earth energy even more present here. But I would say all in all, it likes fulfillment. The moon in Taurus likes fulfillment through sensory experiences, whether it's taste, smell, touch, light up a beautiful candle, get your diffuser going. I mean, really have this spa-like luxurious retreat experience. Get some new sheets. Get some new sheets that feel silky, soft. If you've had yours for years, I just did that. I've had mine for like 2 years. I'm like, okay, it's time. And so that gives you some ideas on how to support the moon here. So it's a yummy moon day. We do have though some conversations with the moon, two more positive ones and one slightly difficult one. Moon does have a square with Pluto. So Pluto's up here in Aquarius, and you've got Moon in a red line square with Pluto. Now, Moon square Pluto, that's a bit tense. That is emotionally it's highs and lows, and it's moody, and thankfully, look, like I said, do your luxury stuff on this day, because if Pluto is driving you nuts, then at least we can comfort the moon by taking her to a retreat like experience. But it is a personal growth day. It is about facing our fears and facing some of our more difficult emotions, and it can lead to greater self-awareness and growth. So it's a growth journey when we're talking about Pluto and the moon, but the feelings get a bit stronger there. So I am so glad though that moon is in Taurus while we have this type of square happening, because like if we had moon in Scorpio with a square to Pluto, that would hurt a lot. I almost feel like the moon in Taurus here softens the blow, a little bit. All right, so let's talk about some of these other ones. Oh, you know what? I didn't even talk about Mars trine. Did I talk about Mars trine Saturn? I did. Yes, my apologies. That was it. That was all I wanted to say for Monday. We are good for Monday. Now, Tuesday's also a big growth day. Okay, there we go. So our main one that has moved is the moon. Everything else is pretty much close to the same degree. But the moon has a lot of activity here. And when I say a lot of activity, one, it's right next to Uranus. Okay. And then do you see all these lines like coming to the moon? I'm going to point out mostly this mini grand trine. But let's first talk about moon being right next to Uranus, because that's a lot. That's a lot. It's going to make you probably restless, but it could also make you very like excited. It's unpredictable. It's a box of chocolates. I will say though, something's gonna erupt. Like something is gonna shake you up. It might be a great surprise or an annoying surprise. I don't know. You're either going to be super happy and super excited and want something different and want something new, or you're just personally going to just shake things up because you're bored, or like it could be something that is disruptive and bringing a little bit of chaos. However, this moon is very well supported. My hope is that it's something really fun, exciting, innovative, different, like takes you on an adventure, a really fun adventure somewhere. But it really has a lot of blue lines coming to it. It's in a mini grand trine. So it has a sextile to Saturn. There's a blue star to Saturn, and then a sextile to Mars. Okay, this blue line to Mars. And then it's got a triangle line. This is a trine from Mars to Saturn. So basically, moon is at the apex at the top, and then Mars and Saturn are on the other sides of the triangle. So it's a mini grand trine. And basically, you've got the passion and the enthusiasm and the excitement coming from Mars. And then you've got the structure and the responsibility and the commitment and the discipline and the long-term thinking and the practicality from Saturn. And all together, it's like, let your emotions, guide you. And plus you have that earthy Saturn planet here to help like support you, give you a strong foundation and support as you are just diving into your desires and your ambitions and your motivation. And like this is really fun to dive into some creative project, for example. This is going to stimulate your creativity. And moon in Taurus, by the way, because moon is at its best position in Taurus, this makes the moon highly intuitive. And the fact that Uranus is next to it, Uranus brings like sudden insights and revelations. And so you may have a powerful like creation day, or you download something very important that's going to support you for the next 7 years. Like I'm very, very excited about this day because there's just so many potential cool things that could happen here. And there's more positivity than it being challenging, like when I look at the greater landscape. So if something fun comes through, please comment below. I'd like to know. I'm very curious. I love to see how this plays out in other people's lives other than just my own. All right. So another one to mention, we are getting Mercury close to Venus. It's 9 degrees away. I mean, it was kind of conjunct yesterday too, but it's just going to get closer and closer. So this Mercury Venus conjunction will be around for a bit. And this is going to be very helpful in the way that we communicate with our partners or with our friends and just in our relationships in general. It can also very much so stimulate our creativity and writing, music, design, things of that nature too. But ultimately, it's just going to create a lot of ease and flow in the way that we interact with people in our lives. So enjoy that. Also good for negotiation. They're in Aries signs. Like, you know how I was saying refinancing this would be a sweet time to refinance, like Venus going in retrograde. It's not like you're getting a new loan, like a brand new loan. It's more about taking the existing loan you have and getting a better one. Okay, refinancing. And Mercury rules like negotiations and sales and business and contracts too. And so these two together, this is a powerful time, I would say, to renegotiate certain contracts, to give you an idea. Okay. All right. So next, we're going to continue on to Wednesday. Wednesday, our moon has shifted. It is now in Gemini. And when moon is in Gemini, moon went from an earth sign to now an air sign. So it's a bit more young. It's a bit more lively. It's very, very like wants to, it needs stimulation and it wants to just be around people and have some cool connections, have some cool conversations. Gotta learn a bunch of random things. It's a lot busier. It loves just conversations in general. So it's a bit more involved with people, with the schedule. The schedule's getting a bit more packed. Go here, go there, into that appointment, to this event, and all of that. So expect a bit more activity rather than kind of, hiding out at home in your luxurious sheets. So you'll see probably more text messages, more emails, just a lot more communication in general, whether it's in person or it's in the digital format. Moon is then sextile Mercury, and that's Mercury rules Gemini, so that's great. And Mercury is in a fire sign, so really like a lot of activity in terms of communication and people in conversations and just being in your inbox a lot, for example. And then Jupiter is near it too, which then expands it, makes it bigger. But this tells me that our minds are just going to be, it's going. It's going, it's going, it's going. It's getting done, done, done. It's like I can see you checking off your to-do list like way faster than you normally do. So it'll be very easy to share ideas. It'll be easy to connect with others. It'll be easier to get things done. I mean, look, we already have this Saturn-Mars thing. So this is a get it done. I feel like a get it done kind of energy when you take in the whole picture here. We also have Moon trine Pluto. Now, Pluto is that planet of transformation, and it is in trine, which is a more helpful conversation versus a square that we had the other day. So here, this is very deep. This is very transformative. This is can make you feel a bit more intensely too, but this brings a lot of self-awareness and emotional intelligence. You are really going to be able to deeply connect. Also, it may be quick and you're doing a lot of things, but it's going to go deep. It's not shallow in terms of your interactions and the things that you're doing on this day. So they're very important, they're very meaningful, and they're very transformational. And you could even say healing in nature too. Okay, so that's our Wednesday. Next, we've got Thursday. Thursday, we have Moon in Gemini still, but look how close it is to Jupiter, conjunct Jupiter. So when we have Moon next to Jupiter, Jupiter is that planet of optimism and visioning and hope and possibility. And Jupiter is like 100 times bigger than Earth. It's humongous. So that's why it amplifies, magnifies, grows whatever it touches. So your moon is your emotions, your emotional body. That's going to really just like fill up with all of this optimism and positivity and joy and warmth and generosity and compassion for the people that you are just busily talking to and interacting with. So you're going to feel also like you're growing. Jupiter cares about personal development and growth. And so you may care about those themes, topics too. Maybe this would be a good day to read a book because Gemini loves to learn, or read something that contributes towards your personal growth and development. But what I like about Jupiter here is that it helps us to be hopeful about the future and see that bigger picture, to see that vision of what it is that we are aiming to design and create in our lives today. We do have Moon square the Sun, so it does have that little challenge here that can bring about some mood swings, some like a little like lack of confidence. Thankfully, we've got Jupiter here to add that confidence. So hopefully the Jupiter moon will mitigate whatever this square is happening to the sun. We also have moon square Saturn. So I actually just got two challenges against it. Saturn can also, it can make us feel defeated sometimes. However, look, these squares, they're also growth opportunities. So that's why I don't want you to freak out over squares and oppositions. Yeah, they're sometimes harder, yet that's where the growth really happens, you know? And so this can be a time where we really develop our emotional maturity and really work on our boundaries. Like there's an opportunity for us to actually set a boundary that we normally haven't before, because Saturn is the planet of boundaries. And so Jupiter can help accelerate and grow that skill and ability to set a boundary when there wasn't one before. So do you see what I'm saying? Like, yes, the squares and oppositions, the red lines are challenging, but those are the moments in our life that give us the opportunity to practice something new, different, that is going to only support us and help us, and really like work with the weaknesses and challenges that we have, and start to develop new muscles around that and new skills around that, so that we're not forever afflicted, if that makes sense. Okay, very good. So, but this can offer opportunities, because look, Jupiter is the planet of opportunities and growth and abundance and prosperity. So by teaching us, like what Sun and Saturn is trying to teach us, that could be how we receive and enter into a new opportunity, by setting the boundaries and walking in confidence. Make sense? Okay, very nice. So this is practical astrology. This is putting it into action. Now, Friday. Oh my goodness, our moon. This is a little bit of a tense day. Well, maybe more confusing. How about that? How about confusing? Look, take it easy on Friday in terms of your decision making, and also support your moon. Support your natal moon wherever your natal moon is, but also consider the fact that moon is in Gemini. It's an air sign. It likes to learn. It likes to learn air. I also think of like meditation, journaling. Let's see, breath work would be great. I love breath work with air signs. So doing breath work and meditation, journaling, writing, because Gemini has to do with writing. Okay, this would be a good time to do that stuff because we have some squares. We have a square from Moon to Mercury, which then makes it a little challenging to express in words what we're feeling. And then we have Neptune in square with the moon, and Neptune can bring confusion. So adding more confusion to that. So it's kind of like moving through the fog in terms of like, I don't know how I feel about something. Maybe even you don't even know how you think about something. You got so many thoughts that you're just not even really sure which one is true and right. What are your thoughts and what is somebody else's thoughts? So hence, don't make major decisions on this day, please. All right. Just let the day with no major decision making. Nothing big. Don't sign contracts, please, on this day. It's probably going to be muddy. Don't do that. Saturday, our moon moves into Cancer. And I really like Sunday, by the way. Please stick around for Sunday. Saturday, moon moves into Cancer. And Cancer is the home sign for the moon. So the moon is very happy here. This is its natural place. It feels safe. It feels secure. It can be a bit moody because that's just the nature of Cancer. I mean, think about the waves, the ocean, the rising tide. It goes up and down, up and down. But you're probably going to want to cozy it up at home and just like take care of yourself, protect yourself, put on this shield of armor. and there's a lot more sensitivity when moon is in Cancer. So we want to be careful with, where we expose ourselves to, person, place, thing. And this can create like a deep need for bonding with the people that we love, our family, for example. This does increase our sensitivity, our empathy, our creativity. And look, we've got Mars conjunct the moon right here. They're literally only a few degrees away from each other. They're 5 degrees away from each other. And then, of course, throughout the day, like it's getting closer. I believe, it's going to get closer and closer. So Mars, what does Mars provide? Now, do remember that Mars is not in its best sign in Cancer either. It's a little bit more passive aggressive here. So if you get a little snarky, a little more passive aggressive, little judgy, like that may happen as a result, but it can create like some impatience and frustration and irritability and impulsivity as well. That's how I feel it's going to express. Mars is usually very ambitious too. It could stimulate ambitious, but I feel like the way that we'll experience it is more irritability and moodiness and frustration and snarkiness. That's my interpretation of this day. Do let me know though. Do let me know. Okay, so we also have moon that is in trine with sun. I always like a moon trine sun. That just brings a bit more harmony and support and confidence and ability to just like do things that feel really in alignment between your desires and acting on your desires. So that's really nice. We do have moon square Venus. Now, this can bring some dissatisfaction in our relationships. Look, there are some days I absolutely adore my partner. I just like want to spend more time with him and do more things with him. And then I got days where I'm just like, no, not in the mood. So if you have those days, could be a moon square Venus kind of a day. But, it's kind of like a tension between like what your needs are and what your desires are. That's moon in Cancer next to Mars, and what your partner desires. So you might not be on the same page, or what your friend desires. You might not be on the same page. They may want to do one thing and you want to do something totally different, and it's just not connecting. It's not jiving. So that's an example of how moon square Venus can represent. And you both are probably very insistent on what you want to do with, Mercury and Venus being in in Aries. You're going to be like stubborn, like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. and having a little bit of a argument or disagreement around that to give you an idea, because it's Saturday. Usually people are trying to figure out what they want to do for Saturday. So you might not be on the same page, is all I'm saying. Now, Sunday. Sunday. Love Sunday. Look at that moon down there, okay, in Cancer over here. And look at all these blue lines. I mean, there's a pile of them. I love this. There's so many trines and sextiles. Yeah, we got an opposition. All right, let's just start off with that. Moon is opposite Pluto. That is going to be one struggle bus here, because Moon is already moody in Cancer, and then we're going to throw Pluto. So that can bring emotional volatility. Sorry. It can bring more sensitivity, heightened sensitivity. Like you're really going to feel your feelings and the feelings of others as well. It can bring, though, when it's opposites, it's got both positives and challenges. And so this can bring a lot of emotional resilience too, emotional strength, greater self-awareness. And, but then you might have to be confronting some of your hidden fears and just the pains, like they're just surfacing, because that's what Pluto does. It takes the hidden and reveals it. It's like, oh, I can't hide from this feeling anymore. It's there completely. So that is the one challenging aspect. However, with that being said, there are so many beautiful trines and sextiles going to the moon on this day. Oh, I'm so happy. So moon trine sun, we had that on Saturday. We're having it again on Sunday. This is a really good balance between like, how you're feeling inside and how you're acting and what you're doing throughout the day. Relationships feel a bit more fulfilling, which is nice. We don't have that, do we still have that square? No, I don't think we do. We don't have that square. Oh no. Yeah, we don't. Never mind. We do not have the square with Venus anymore. So that's gone. Oh, thank goodness. So if Saturday you have an argument with your partner, then Sunday will make up for it. Okay, so moon is also trine with Saturn, so that brings that like need to be responsible and being patient and taking care of what's important. And when it comes to like relationships, for example, because moon is another significator for our relationships, that you're wanting to build something with a solid foundation that is long lasting, that is meaningful too. And same thing with Pluto having this conversation with the moon. Like you're going to want to do something with depth here. This is not just let me get a bunch of errands done on this day. That's not just errand day. Let's do something really rich with the people we care about. Okay. All right. And then that moon trine Saturn, another nice thing about that is that it brings like emotional stability, maturity, security. Like it has a grounding feature, especially with moon being in Cancer. I think it's very helpful to have this grounding feature. It is also in trine with Neptune, which that's just going to really stimulate your imagination and creativity and also enhance your intuition. Very nice. And then it is sextile with Uranus. So you're going to want to do something super fun and exciting and different and adventurous. Like, because Uranus is the innovator. It's the breakthrough kind of energy. It's the let me shake things up in a good way, in a fun way, because, it's in a sextile. It's not chaotic and disruptive. It's really thrilling, exciting, and it's just going to expand you and open you up into something new and different. Ah, I love it. I love it. So enjoy this Sunday and all that the moon has to offer. I do like, since moon is in Cancer, doing some sort of water therapy, water treatment, like a shower or a bath. I prefer a bath more than anything in this situation. That will also be very, very delicious and supportive of the moon here. Okay, and you know I love my float tanks. This would be a good day to go floating. Anyways, thank you so much for hanging with me for this week's forecast. And we have essentially kicked off the madness of 2025. We've got Venus in retrograde. We got Mars that is direct. Pluto's already in Aquarius, but as we come to the end of March, a very big deal. Okay, this Neptune is in a sign for 14 years, and it has been in Pisces for 14 years. And we are going to see, and it's an outer planet, so outer planets really affect the whole collective. Every single one of us are gonna move together with this Neptune moving into Aries. So I'm just kind of prepping you ahead of time because we're going to have an extensive discussion around Neptune moving into Aries. That's a big deal, a big deal. And then July, of course, our final outer planet move will be this Uranus in Gemini on July 7th. So we've got more to come. If you would love to join my community, my membership, it is called Rise and Thrive. We'll link it down below, and it is very supportive in providing all kinds of ways at dealing with being an empath and supporting you on your journey to have emotional harmony, wellness, and clarity and strengthening of your intuition so that you're navigating this life exceedingly well, despite the intensity that the planet is going through. It doesn't mean we're not going to have challenges, but we can move through them very gracefully and powerfully and learn how to dance with all of these energies. So I look forward to seeing you in Rise and Thrive community too. Until next time, we'll see you in the next forecast.